Salute Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing tonight. The New York Knicks. Best win of the season, a statement win and a performance, man, that was near perfect. I mean, that second quarter absolutely snatched the heart out of those Minnesota Timberwolves. And Karl-Anthony Towns in his return, much of the same, man. Masterclass performance, playing like the best big in the East right now, MVP candidate. Man, feel good vibes tonight as the Knicks got back after a longer break. And what a statement performance, man. Mikal Bridges, best game as a New York Knick as well, man. And our offense was firing, unstoppable tonight. Let's give out the game balls and salute to the chat. Welcome into the post-game live with CT Knicks Nation. We here. What a performance. 17-10 now on the season. A season high. 7 games above 500 now, as we have an easier stretch to end the month. It's festive, feel-good vibes tonight. Many blessings to everyone out here, and lots to celebrate after this win, right? They say we haven't played anybody yet. They say we have the softest schedule. Well, all you can do is make statements and put a beat down like that, fam. Omar, buzzer beater, and replay squad. Let's get it. Let's give out these grades. What's up, DJ? Star Vibes. Let us know what was the most impressive thing on a night where so many things were impressive to you. What was the most impressive thing, man? We're going to go through it. We're going to break it all down and give out our favorite heroes their grades tonight. As like I said, I think the pleasing thing is that we faced a really good defense tonight. We made them look ordinary. I mean, they could not get stops tonight, and we were firing. But obviously, we have to start with the news at the top. Josh Hart, you know, we don't know the particulars, but personal reasons missed tonight. Prayers up and positive vibes sent his way. He was commentating on Twitter, so hopefully it's nothing serious at the moment. But we missed Josh Hart. But obviously, the team, got it done for him tonight. And Precious Achiuwa stepped up and got the start, his first start of the season. And I thought Precious Achiuwa was fantastic tonight. But the story is Karl-Anthony Towns and his return to Minnesota. There was a beautiful tribute video, which we'll get into later, and some comments had pre-game. But man, Cat let his actions speak louder than words tonight. And he said, man, you traded me. All right. I'm a New York Knick now. I'm going to show the world what I can do. And a statement win, man. A++ performance from Cat and a game ball to go with that, man, in Minnesota. It was raining threes early, and they couldn't do anything. I mean, our ball movement, I think the Knicks' pace was up as well. A shout out to the guys that won our pace up. But yeah, Cat was so active. I mean, under the basket, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, they tried to guard him a little bit with Randall at times, and they just had no answer for the big bodega. And Cat showed what he could do. We're going to go through the numbers, but obviously it was a record, start to the season for Cat, and he's breaking more records, man. 32-20, plus 31 as well in the box score. But his dimes, man, he continues to move the rock at an elite level. 6 assists tonight, gave us 32 points and 3 offensive rebounds. A perfect 5 of 5 from distance as well. As Dermot says, dominant performance from Cat. Absolutely, man. And yeah, statement made by DJ. Chris says Cat dominated. Precious with a double-double. It looked good in the starting lineup. Yeah, I agree, man. I'm going to talk about that a lot more. I think I'm happy that Tibbs went with that, because it was kind of a mystery. I was kind of maybe thinking he would go with Deuce, with Hart being out. But no, he went big to combat Minnesota. And I thought defensively it really helped us with the length. And that's kind of what I've been wanting to see, for a minute. But, of course, outside of Cat's heroic night, Bridges, man, what do you guys think about him? 12 of 18, 4 of 8 from distance as well. 6 rebounds. I thought he was gritty defensively as well. 6 assists, moving with the ball, cutting, was elite tonight, man. That's the Mikal Bridges we traded for, man, tonight. No doubt about it. With 29 points and a plus 35 team high. Stand up Mikal Bridges. You get an A+ tonight and a game ball as well. I had to give out 2 game balls because, despite how good Cat was, I mean, Bridges was excellent early as well. His cutting in the first quarter set the tone as well and helped us get some easy buckets, early. And I mean, the offense was just flowing like water, man, and the ball was moving. Credit to JB for not really making it about him tonight. He was trying to get others involved from the very beginning, and obviously defensively, we broke down a really good defense coming in. Statistically, what a dominant performance, Johnny. Great to see you. Salutations, and yeah, excellent game from Bridges. He deserves a game ball from me. And Buzzer says Cat has class personified, fam. Old head, what a game. Finally got to see Cat playing with Precious. And Sim showed out as well. I see you. Definitely. I mean, Deuce McBride was excellent tonight as well. He was all over the place. I could tell he was definitely trying to, win that matchup against DiVincenzo when those guys were matched up for a minute tonight. Great to see Troy in the building as well. Let's get it, guys. We are 7 games over 500 now, and we've got the Pelicans on Saturday. And then we've got the Raptors. We've got some easier games coming up, man. I think we could be 20-10 easily and 10 games over 500, man, before the end of the month, right? But Precious got his start because Hart missed due to personal reasons. They are expecting him to play in the next game as well. So doesn't sound like it's anything major, but we still send our positive vibes. And a salute to the Knicks Nation. Salutations, greetings for the festive season, man. The Knicks showed up tonight and gave us a great one. Feel good vibes. OG Anunoby, I think he was really solid defensively as well. You saw him pick the pockets of Julius Randle, who we're going to talk about. Obviously, Julius started the game really active. Julius, you could tell he was up for this one, man. He was so locked in and, finished, with a decent game, but he had a really good start. And obviously, the Knicks slowed him down. Credit to the Knicks defense. And obviously, Ant-Man was slowed down as well. So I think that's something for Tibbs to really think about with Precious starting. I like it, Chance, yeah, because OG moves to the 3, and that helps out Bridges on defense as well, yeah, the length. And I think you saw like Mike Conley try to drive a few times, and Precious got in front of him as the power forward, and that kind of that slowed a lot of the drives from Minnesota as well. So I think we really might be onto something, man. But look, Cat's so versatile. I mean, either way, he can play the 4 and the 5 because his 3-point shooting is so elite. As you see, he splashed 5 of 5 tonight, and we're unguardable. I mean, no defense can really, no scheme defense can really beat that. You just need individual talent to slow us down, like a Dyson Daniels or like an elite defensive wing. That's the way you're going to stop us, right? Scheme-wise, we're going to break you down with the ball movement and the deep shooting as well. But let's look at the numbers, guys, because the 3-point shooting was excellent tonight. But season on assists, man, season best, 39 assists tonight, man. We almost cracked 40, or maybe we did, and the stats haven't updated. But the ball movement was elite tonight, man, and that's how we win. That's how we thrive as a team. And I think it really gets everyone involved in the defensive side when everyone's touching the ball on offense, man. And obviously, second chance points. The Knicks won. Rebounding absolutely dominated the rebounding department with 63-40, right, as well. I think the Knicks understood the assignment with their bigs, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, and how important those guys are with Julius Randle. Of course, knows how to rebound. But reports are just coming out, guys. Right after the buzzer, Julius Randle headed straight to the locker room. Didn't stick around. Didn't want to shake hands to anybody, any of his former teammates. Didn't want to dap up Karl Anthony Towns, one of his bros as well. But that's how the story goes, man. It's a tough situation what's happening in Minnesota right now. They're underperforming as well. And that's the crux of where we sit right now with the trade. I think the Knicks won the trade by a landslide right now from where we sit. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns was the best player in the trade, but he's obviously come to New York and he's delivered right from the get-go. He's delivered in spades, right? Obviously, he's had some struggles protecting the rim as that particular rim protector anchor role, but the Knicks have got better defensively on the perimeter, and obviously we're really helping him out now. And his rebounding's gone to another level. Best in the league in rebounding. You know, best big in the East right now, and he's playing like it, man. What's up, Neymar? Salute CC. Let's get it. I like how they held on to the lead as well, CC. Yeah, no fake comebacks from Minnesota tonight, man. Jericho Sims got his jersey retired at his high school in Minnesota where he grew up. Coming back home, Jericho showed out tonight as well with a couple of alley-oops, and one of our 40 assists tonight found Jericho on this one, man. Bridges was excellent. Let's talk about him right now as we look at his numbers. And I think his second game ball of the season. I mean, Bridges is really starting to elevate after the Orlando game and this one. His best back-to-back performances of the season so far. 35 minutes for the Bridge man. 12 of 18 is perfect. 4 of 8 from distance as well. The shot looked really good tonight. But the activity defensively from Bridges and putting the ball on the floor and playmaking was really important for the New York Knicks tonight. But look at his cutting. The amount of times Bridges, Cat found Bridges under the basket was glaring tonight. And Julius Randle was caught ball watching a lot of the time and missed his man on the cuts. And Bridges capitalized big time. Right, so that's Bridges' role. You know, put the ball on the floor and create a bit. I like the 6 assists from Bridges, right? Obviously shoot the ball when you're open, but play make, put the ball on the floor as well as cut. And that's just going to keep the offense moving right now. And he's just a great third option for us with Brunson and Cat. I think Bridges is really starting to settle into that role. And like I said, the Orlando one and this one, man, super pleasing for what we can see moving ahead. Because I do think that there's going to be games where Cat just doesn't have it going. Guys have poor shooting nights, and there's going to be nights when Brunson doesn't have it going, and we're going to need this kind of Bridges to really step up and be efficient, right? And the 3-point shot looked perfect too. Let's talk about it, Jay Dragon. We'll talk about Precious Achiuwa, but yeah, he played a lot of garbage time minutes late, so yeah, pay no attention to the plus minus. Basically, the Knicks won 133 to 107, right? So it was basically a 26-point blowout. But Precious Achiuwa played a lot of the garbage time where Minnesota made a little bit of a run, but the game was basically over at that stage. But the Knicks starters, they handled their business tonight. Bridges and Cat, the best players on the floor tonight, and they get an A++ for Cat, A+ for Bridges, and the 2 game balls to go with it. Now let's talk about the captain JB. But before I do, welcome in everyone to the chat. If you're new, like and subscribe to the channel late night edition of the Knicks post game on the streets of buzzing. Smash that like button and subscribe. Join us in the community. And we're going to keep it buzzing all season as the Knicks no doubt going to make plenty of noise in the run home to this season, man. We're building more chemistry. We're going to talk about the G League performances later in the show. There was a big game earlier today where Pacome Dadier was actually in Orlando and he flew to Minnesota today, halfway through the day, to actually make the bench tonight and actually give us some minutes. So can we get a shout out to Kolek, Dadier, and as well as Huck Porty as well. The G League showcase going on in Orlando. TJ Warren had a huge performance there as well as Landry Shamet. But with these Knicks, right, Precious Achiuwa stepped into that starting role, right? 6 of 9, hit 1 3 in the corner that I'm going to bring up right now. And that was great to see because Precious Achiuwa has been working on his shot. And I know it's something that can come around. And I do think if he gets, more opportunities. This one was Precious finishing on the break. And he was running the floor really well tonight. Great motor, high energy guy. And I think he really deserved the start. So great to see Precious in his 5th game back, I believe, now. And he's really starting to look great in his minutes. But the corner 3, here we go. Right, another dime. And Precious, no hesitation. That was nothing but net. What do you guys think? Another dime from Cat to Precious, man. The 4-5 feeding off of each other. That was big. That was big. Yeah, pressure started tonight, Jay. Definitely. Great to see you, Sandman. Let's get TJ Warren up. Yeah, he showed out tonight. We're going to look at him too. But yeah, Edo, Precious was cooking. His plus minus is definitely misleading because he played the garbage time. Um, but nevertheless, we're going to give the grade to Precious. He played 27 minutes, finished with 10 bounds, 13 points, and was 3 offensive rebounds, 2 assists as well, 1 turnover, and 2 fouls. Right, but 6 of 9, super efficient. I love his motor. Basically, he moves without the ball. Defensively, I think is where we're really going to rely on him if he does get more minutes and does start. Um, Mitch isn't healthy yet, and we don't know when he's going to return. And obviously, Sims is out of the rotation now. Technically, if Hart was playing, Jericho probably wouldn't have played tonight. So what I saw from Precious was, really good defensively. He was moving his feet. He was rotating well, and obviously he was deterring a lot of drives. So that added size did really benefit the New York Knicks. They didn't give up those driving lanes, to Ant-Man and Randall and the like. Despite a slower start, once Minnesota got up by a little, the Knicks put the foot on the gas and made a huge run, and outscored them in the second quarter, 41-18. Right, our best quarter of the season. In the second, it was an absolute explosion, man. As the Knicks went to the half, 73-51 as well. But we had 20 assists at the half, and we were winning the rebounds 32-20 at the half as well. And basically, once Minnesota got up by a little bit, the Knicks went on a little run, 11-2 run, and then their run continued. Right, it was a 20-point turnaround in that quarter once Deuce had a layup to put us up 13 as well. So, yeah, I mean, the best thing I'm going to take away from tonight was our defense and the ball movement, the 40 assists, basically as a team. Great win, Steve. It was really great. And those people can't really say we haven't played no one anymore, man. We've played a team above 500 tonight in their building as well. And Julius Randle was up for it as well. Naz Reid as well. A lot of people saying Naz Reid deserved more minutes over Cat at times, deserved minutes over Rudy Gobert, but we saw levels to tonight, man. I thought Precious actually played better than Naz Reid did, to be honest with you. And obviously Cat absolutely destroyed all of them. So with that said, with his start, I'm going to give Precious Achiuwa a B plus for tonight, man. For his first start and 5th game back, right? He gets a B plus, right? I didn't see any hurt of our floor spacing. I mean, even having a non-shooter out there like Precious or a non-floor spacer, I'll say, the shooting was elite, and we were getting wide open looks, and the rotations from the ball movement was excellent. And obviously, Cat was on one tonight, man. It was raining threes in Minnesota. Um, yeah, with the Randall trade, Sandman, we're going to talk about that because, look, Randall is a player where I think, when he has good chemistry and the ball is moving, he thrives. But obviously, I think it's a different situation in Minnesota. I think one of the reasons, it's not working out as well over there is Anthony Edwards is a pure isolation guy. He's not, obviously you want the ball in his hands, and then Randall needs the ball in his hands as well. So I think the two need to play off of each other better. But the Knicks killed that trade by a landslide, right? And after tonight, man, there's no arguments. Miguel says defense turned things around tonight. Yeah, that was the catalyst. Best believe that. And the added length that Achiuwa gave us is something that I really want to see more of, right? Look, inevitably, I do think Mitch will probably get a look in. I don't know if he's going to start immediately, but I think there'll be a lot of lineups with another big next to Cat. It could be Achiuwa, it could be Mitch. But obviously, the odd man out would be Josh Hart in that situation. I don't think you're going to put Mikal Bridges on the bench because you traded, you made the move, you traded the 5, first round picks. Hart's a team player. He's already said he'll do whatever the team needs. So I do think, at some point in the future, if we do play with big lineups, I think it's going to be Hart playing off the bench a bit more. And I think tonight Achiuwa really, filled into that kind of heart role, rebounding, moving the ball, cutting, and basically, anchoring the paint as well. Sandman gives Precious an A-. For me, he was great. Yeah, we're going to give Tibbs a grade as well for making that right read. With that said, but let's talk about OG Anunoby and Brunson next up, because OG was the catalyst to a lot of that run in that second quarter. The box score doesn't say a lot about offensively, but Cat had a couple of strips on Randall, great contests like he usually does, 2 steals and a block tonight from Wingstop OG, and 3 rebounds, 4 assists as well. And he was a plus 28 in just 30 minutes. So if you guys don't already know, we've only played one game in like 7-8 days. OG Anunoby only played 30 minutes tonight. So that's really good for his legs. I think we're going to be pretty fresh for this next stretch of the season because we've had a nice little break. And don't forget, in February, we're going to get that All-Star break as well, where players are going to get, some of our players are going to get about a week off again in February. So I think we can put our foot on the gas right now and make the most of this stretch. What do you guys think with the run coming up right now? But yeah, OG 3 of 8, 2 steals and a block, 3 stocks, and 4 assists. So just a workman type performance from OG. Man, he's our anchor and our defensive perimeter stopper, and he basically really slowed down Ant-Man. He switched on to Randall as well as the help defender and did his job like he always does. So I'm going to give OG the grade of a B+ for tonight. What do you guys think? Salute Knicks Nation. Smash that like button. We're giving out 2 game balls tonight, and our guys showed up in the big stage in Minnesota. You could tell they were really practicing their shooting during the break. You could tell that the practice really benefited these guys. What did you guys think about that? Because yeah, there was a lot of talk over what would the Knicks do during the break. Would they, get some good chemistry going and some practice? And it looks like they did, because the jump shots look great, the legs look spry, and our transition buckets tonight, man. We won the fast breaks and the rebounds too. The best defense played in Minnesota tonight was by the security guards. Man, did you guys see 2 female intruders tried to invade the court, and basically one of them made the court, was tackled by security. Fred Katz, formerly of the Knicks beat with the Athletic, says best transition defense there's been in Minnesota tonight, man. And they wanted a piece of the pie, seeing Cat out there dominate as well. This was a big and one in that second quarter that gave the Knicks a huge run as well, right? Another salute to Cat, rebounding on another level as well. I mean, we're not going to see any narratives flying around that Cat is soft, because he's holding himself down in the paint, and he's holding us down, and he's making, a mockery of other bigs in the East, man. He's dominating everyone on the perimeter and down low. Yeah, Chris, I said it at the time, man. The NBA Cup, whilst I would have loved to, advance and try to win that hardware, I think it was a blessing now in disguise. I think it gave our guys that much needed rest. Absolutely, man. Great comment. Great comment. You guys are on fire. Sandman gives OG an A. Silencing Ant-Man was a big deal tonight, yeah. I think we look like a championship caliber team tonight, man. I mean, simply put, defense was on point. Offense was unstoppable. I think this is the ceiling that we saw tonight, blowing out a really good team. And yes, I don't think they're the team that they were last season. I think, Minnesota is still reeling from the chemistry upheaval, and obviously we've adapted a lot better. But integrating 2 pieces is more difficult than integrating one from the trade. But obviously we have Bridges to integrate as well, and I think they're really starting to buy into the chemistry too. What's up, Mugaruara boy? Hopefully we can get Shamit back, or a 9th man by Christmas. Yeah, amen to that. We got to keep some minutes down. G-Man, salute to you. What's up? Great win. And And yeah, the MVP of the night might just be that our guys got to rest because, blowout win another night where we didn't have to really play heavy minutes. And obviously, big shout out to the G League guys who flew from Orlando to Minnesota halfway through the day as well. Right, we'll take a quick gander at the box score from that as well. I know we're a late night show tonight. We're going to give out these grades and salute the rest of the New York Knicks. But just to briefly summarize, we had TJ Warren show out tonight, 9 of 14. And this is the G League showcase earlier today. We had Moses Brown show out as well, 7 of 12. He had 16 rebounds and 16 points. He was phenomenal. Landry Shamet working his way back from the shoulder dislocation. He had 10 points and was 2 of 4 from distance and 3 of 10 from the field. And Chuma Rakiki continues to play really good two-way sides of the floor. 6 of 15, 2 of 5 from distance, 17 points with 5 assists and 8 rebounds as well. So I do think TJ Warren will end up on an NBA roster. He's really playing really at a high level now for the last like 4 or 5 games. And I think the Knicks might be looking to call him up, fam. But obviously Landry Shamet, we drafted him. I do think there's plans to bring him up as soon as we possibly can. But he's getting really good reps right now. So today was the G League showcase, and the Knicks advance in that tournament as well. The Knicks are on a 7-game winning. The G League Knicks are on a 7-game winning streak right now. But last but not least, let's talk about the captain tonight, JB. 5 of 14 with 7 dimes, 3 rebounds, 14 points plus 8 with 2 free throws, but was 2 of 5 from distance, 40%, as the Knicks shot 44% from the distance as well as a team. So the shooting really was contagious tonight, but the ball movement was great from Brunson, 7 dimes. But I think the pace that he played with was great, and the defense as well. Took a huge shot to the face from Naz Reid, the elbow, man, straight to the huge forehead of Jalen Brunson. He took a moment to get up, but once he got up, man, he got back to work. And JB didn't let us down tonight. 7 dimes was great, and efficient from distance as well. So, yeah, I think he was much of the same as OG and Precious. So, Cap's going to get a B+ for me for tonight. Not that he doesn't deserve better. I just feel like, these guys were in third gear. I think Brunson obviously didn't need to take over scoring-wise because we had the hot hand going with these other guys. What's up? Nice. Salute, brothers and sisters in the chat. Knicks family, festive blessings to everyone. The Knicks got right after this break, after the loss to Atlanta. 2 gritty wins now against 2 solid teams. And we're going to look around the NBA in a minute, right? But once we've given out these grades for the bench and for Tibbs, before we move on, let's talk about Tibbs tonight. Because I didn't think Tibbs had much to do, but I think he did press the right buttons, to be honest. I like his decision to start Precious. I like his timeouts as well. And he had the team ready, super focused, and were just utterly dominant in this one. So I'm going to give, and not only that, he emptied the bench when he needed to, and he got these guys, in Tyler Kolek. He got in Jericho Sims some minutes as well. So Tibbs gets the A for me tonight, right? One of the best wins of the season. I don't know if I'll say the best win. It was definitely one of the most dominant wins and performances. There were some wins that I really liked against Denver over there. I liked the win in Phoenix. Was a good win as well. But this is definitely top 3. I think definitely top 3 wins of the season, given the added narratives heading into this one, right? With Cat answering the call and finishing with the game ball, man. A++ statement performance, 32 and 20, man. Long may it continue, man. Now the bench, because Deuce McBride was excellent in this. 6 of 13, 4 of 9 from deep, 8 assists as well, 5 rebounds, 16 points, 23 plus in the box score, man, in 28 minutes. Absolutely phenomenal was Deuce McBride tonight, man. I mean, 8 dimes. I didn't even realize Deuce had 8 dimes until I just looked at it. It was effortless, basically, and the ball was contagious. So I'm going to give Deuce the grade right now, man. He gets an A plus for me. The 6th man of the year. I mean, signature performance. 6th man of the year type performance from Deuce. 8 dimes with 16 points. I think Jamal Crawford, who was on the call tonight for MSG, outstanding comms, and he would have done Jamal proud in this one. 4 of 9 as well. Heard the Deuce chants in this one too. I mean, this just encapsulates what Deuce is all about, man. Doesn't give up on the play. He was fouled on this one as well, adjusting the arm sleeve, but he gets the rebound over Mike Conley and finishes over the rook, Rob Dillingham, as well, man. We are so blessed to have Deuce on this squad as well, but I know there's help on the way with him coming off the bench. A minus for the cap, says Johnny. And given Randall an F plus. I see you. LB So Wavy says, why is Jason Goebel always refereeing our games? Yeah, tonight it wasn't as bad as some of the other games, but yeah, I'm definitely sick of seeing him. Hopefully the NBA can, mix it up a bit. We've had some bad games from Jason Goebel. No doubt about it, but I mean, they couldn't even get blocks on us. Rudy Gobert was useless tonight, basically. I know he cops a lot of heat, but Rudy Gobert was basically invisible tonight, guys. I mean, Ant-Man didn't even have much of an impact, really. I know he let Randall try to cook early. That was the good teammate, the good brother in him, letting Randall try to go at his former team. But, Ant-Man just didn't have a rhythm, when they needed him. But obviously OG had him on lock in this one. Payne was 3 of 9, but 3 of 7 from distance, so he had it going as well from deep. Did Cameron Payne. He had 6 assists, 9 points, plus 18 in 17 minutes. So that's huge, man. Whenever you're higher in the plus minus than the minutes that you played, that lets you know that those minutes were complete domination, right? And obviously he's got the green light. He didn't hesitate with those shots. Did Cameron Payne, but he played at a great speed, great energy, like always. And I really appreciate what Cam Payne gave to us tonight. So, he deserves a shout out as well. I'm going to give Cameron Payne a B plus for his performance, right? I do think Landry Shamet is probably going to return within the next few weeks. I can't say exactly when. Nobody's kind of given any hints, but I do think with Deuce, whether it's Precious or Hart, and then Cameron Payne and Landry Shamet, and then when Mitch is back, obviously I think that's a really solid bench. That beefs up our bench, man, a lot in terms of firepower and consistency. Nice says this Knicks team had 3 solid captains. Brunson for respect, Cat the star that he is, OG for the locked-in player. Honourable mentions for Hart, Mikal, and Deuce as well. Yeah, I really feel like they're starting to get it now, fam. They're really starting to get it in terms of knowing their strengths, each player, sharing and caring, finding each other in the corners, swinging the ball. I mean, Cat's passing is elite as well. I really feel like he's changed the game for the New York Knicks, right? And I think he's been our best Knick. I think it's been OG for a while. I think Brunson has had a pretty solid season so far. I think he's definitely not reached the heights yet of last season's level of play, but he hasn't had to, scoring wise. But just for I guess for everything in terms of full package, Karl Anthony Towns has been our best Knick. And offensively, when he can shoot the lights out from distance, you want to cut, you want to keep moving because he's going to find you. And also the ability to drive and just finish over everyone and get fouled as well. He's a triple threat out there. Johnny says 6 captains. Best believe that. Knicks 25 champ says is Cat in the MVP conversation. I do think that the narrative is going to start to really grow, man. I think he's going to be top 3 right now, man. And great segue. With that said, the All-Star voting, fam, is officially available right now. I've voted already, and they've actually got the template for you. It's all easy. It's all set up as well. If you're in the chat right now or a replay squad, you can vote in your own time or vote right now. I'll put the link in the chat right now. Let's get these guys to the All-Star game, fam. Once you click that link, it's basically going to pre-select all 5 New York Knicks. So you don't even have to choose Cat. You don't even have to choose Brunson. All you got to do is just basically click the link and just press submit, man, and your vote is submitted for these guys to go to the All-Star game. But I think it's a lock. Karl Anthony Towns is going to be an All-Star. There's no doubt about it. He's playing like an MVP right now. And then, yeah, between him, Brunson, OG, and Bridges now, and obviously the glue, the 5th glue guy, whether that's Hart, Achiuwa, Deuce, whoever it is, man, I think our starting 5 is where it needs to be right now. And obviously all we can do is just, keep chipping away and stacking up these wins, fam, as well. We had some big news on the NBA Hall of Fame nominees for this season, man. Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony, Marc Gasol, and Amari Stoudemire are now among eligible Hall of Famers for this year as well. So that's some big news as well. We might see 2 former New York Knicks become Hall of Famers this year, man. So keep an eye out on that. But yeah, we were swishing and dishing early, man, and our defense really held us down tonight. Primo says, well, guess we know who won the trade. Best believe it. I think there's no debate now. So Cameron Payne, Deuce McBride were excellent off the bench. Let's talk about Jericho Sims right now. Because obviously with Hart out and Achiuwa starting, Jericho got serious minutes. And I thought Jericho Sims was good. I thought he was good tonight. Let's look at some of his highlights. Some of the playmaking that Mikal Bridges showcased tonight. Nice dime. Kept his head up and found the cutting Jericho Sims, man. The New York Knicks cutting tonight and player movement was elite. And that's what helped the ball move because players were, head up on a swivel and finding the guys at the right time. Now look at Ant-Man, basically just, stationary ball watching. He was ball watching and missed cutting Jericho Sims. Dante slipped over as well. And Ant didn't sort of rotate quick enough on this one. So, yeah, I think we've seen the blueprint now, when we play with urgency. And this is one of OG's dimes, stripping Randall, getting coast to coast. I think this really set the tone because you see Minnesota were ahead in this one. And this sort of put us basically 1 point behind heading into the end of the first quarter. And that let us know that we were going to, come out of the second and really dominate in that one, man. Randall was slow to move the rock with the double. Doug Fresh, what's up? Salute to you. Great game. And I think it was a near masterpiece. I agree with you on that. Great call. Jazzman, what's up? Nice road win against a solid team. It's becoming what we envisioned. I think it really is, but there's still pieces to come back, and I think we can go to another level. I think Bridges starting to look like the Bridges that we expected. I think that's scary hours, man, for the rest of the league. Because, I think we can all agree, man, unanimously that Bridges hasn't been playing anywhere near his capabilities. For whatever reason that is, hopefully we don't have to worry. But, there's been more levels he can get to. And obviously with the playmaking, the shooting stretches that he's had, defensive stretches as well. Once he puts that all together, we're looking at a starting 5 that's, potentially the best starting five in the NBA, in the conversation at least. And when you're talking about Boston, you're talking about Oklahoma. I mean, to win a championship, you have to be in that conversation to be in the best starting five, because you're going to have to dethrone Boston. You're going to have to knock off OKC, who looked very vulnerable in that NBA Cup tournament. And styles make fights. It's all about matchups. We saw Atlanta, beat us twice. And we've seen Atlanta lose a couple of easier games as well, too. We've beaten the Bucks comfortably, and then we saw the Bucks absolutely dominate OKC. So I think once we get the right mix, the right chemistry, I think we can beat anyone, man. As Susan says in the chat, we made a statement tonight to the rest of the league. And as we give Jericho Sims his grade tonight, and then we look at the NBA around the league, Jericho was 3 of 6, had a couple of nice alley-oops, 6 rebounds, 2 offensive, finished with 6 points and a -1. So a solid game from Jericho Sims, but I liked his ball, his player movement, the cutting, and obviously utilizing his strength, finishing in traffic, finishing over the top of other guys. So I'm going to give Jericho a B tonight. Solid grade, solid game overall, and our bench really came strong, as well as the starting five. So, and then we had Pacome Dadier get garbage time with Matt Ryan, Tyler Kolek, and Ariel Huckporty got in there a little bit late as well. So basically another 8-man rotation from Tibbs, but the starters played less minutes. Now, obviously, Hart is expected to play next game, so hopefully he can return. And then I do think, Tibbs might have a little selection headache in terms of a good headache. What do you guys think? Honestly, it's got nothing to do with Hart in terms of the way he's performed. I think it's just purely matchup dependent. But I wouldn't be mad if Precious starts games over Hart. It just simply comes down to preference, I think, and matchups. What would you guys prefer? Let me know. I know one game is a very small sample, but obviously if Precious Achiuwa is playing like this, I would, really look at starting him against, physical teams, teams like the Houston Rockets, for example, teams against Oklahoma, teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves. If we could play Atlanta again, I would start Precious Achiuwa now. I do think that extra length and size against Jalen Johnson and DeAndre Hunter and Capella, having the double bigs, I think is really important. And like Jazzman said, hitting those threes, is really going to help us as well with Precious. So, the physicality, the rebounding. When we dominate the glass, the Knicks are way above 500 in those ball games, right? So yeah, the narrative now switches to, the Knicks going on a streak, and obviously we're going to get more healthy now. If you haven't already heard, Landry Shamet is now fully active for the Westchester Knicks as well. He's not on a real roster spot yet, but the Knicks can move Matt Ryan back to a two-way, and they can bring Landry Shamet whenever they want. Financially, they can make it work. They've just got to simply move Matt Ryan, back to a two-way. So Landry Shamet, in his 3rd game back for the Westchester Knicks, finished with 10 points and was 2 of 4 from 3. Was plus 13 in the plus minus. Finished with 5 rebounds, 2 assists as well. But the standouts have been TJ Warren and Chuma Okeke as well. Playing both sides of the floor. TJ Warren with a veterans type performance, 9 of 14, 27 buckets, and Akiki with 17 points as well. And Moses Brown looking really nice as well. Got a nice little stretch with Indiana. And now Moses Brown is back with the Westchester Knicks. So the Knicks have got choices, man. They've got options. Connaught says, or Connor T, salute, Connor T. I like Precious, but he was a -4 in the plus minus tonight in a huge blowout. Got to be Hart. I think it's a bit misleading, man. I think with the plus minus, but I understand what you're saying. I definitely think Hart deserves to continue to start. I think you could look at it matchups, and I think Precious could give us that little bit of extra length against longer teams. But when we win the rebounding 63-40, that lets you know that we do benefit from the extra size. Despite Hart being a really good rebounder, I think the size really helps. But man, 133 tonight, man. This was clinical offense, and no defense in the league is stopping us tonight, man. There's no defense in the league. So yeah, before we look around the NBA, if it was up to me in terms of roster moves and decisions now, and this is not including the trade deadline, we're going to have more shows and more times to chop up the looming trade deadline. But I think if the Knicks decide to stay pat, I would definitely bring Landry Shamet back to the squad. I think he's, looking like a solid rotation option, a 3-point shooter, can rotate well, guard the perimeter a little bit. I think he's active. You get him back, you move Matt Ryan to the two-way, and then come mid-February, we can add a 15th man. And I think it's all obviously going to depend on Mitch's health. You might look at Moses Brown as a real option, but I do think TJ Warren should be, for me, would be the prime candidate. When you're trying to go on a deep playoff run, I think bench scoring is something that we are lacking a little bit. Deuce can have a cold night. Cameron Payne's not a scorer, so I do think a guy like a TJ Warren could be beneficial. Again, I've watched his last few G League performances. He's really looking healthy now, and he's looking like a guy who deserves to be on an NBA roster right now. And if the Knicks don't call him up, I got no doubt that a real other NBA team will call up TJ Warren. Today was the G League showcase, and he put up 27 points on mass efficiency. So I do think there's going to be a lot of teams looking to bring a guy like him as well. The Knicks might have to act swift when it comes to him. Susan says Cam Payne is definitely getting better and better coming off the bench for the Knicks. Yeah, I think they're really loving the vibes, man, the chemistry. Don't forget things were a little shaky early. Guys were finding their footing. We lost Dante, we lost iHeart, we lost Randall from the locker room. But I think now the vibes are at an all-time high. I mean, I saw Jake Toppin, having, jokes on the bench with Kat. I think Huck Porty, there's good chemistry with all of our guys right now, from top of the bench to end of the bench, In terms of the trade, I think there's a pathway to Minnesota being still a really good option in the West, a good team. But I mean, we've got to be hard on Dante and Randall. Not Minnesota. I'm hard on Dante and Randall. They're not delivering. Right. We've seen them better than that. And so far, I think those guys need to pull their socks up. Not that I really care, because, I'm not a Minnesota guy. But if you are a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, I think, you do need to, you're within your right to ask for more of those guys. I think Dante's really stinking up the joint. Whether he's still shook by the trade, or maybe the chemistry just doesn't work as well. But Randall, obviously, we know his strengths, we know his flaws. And I think tonight was basically a full display from Julius Randle, from having a heater first quarter to looking disengaged defensively at times, losing his man, then really locking down on, a few possessions defensively when he wanted to, taking pride, and then kind of letting go of the rope. I think we saw a Julius Randle game full circle tonight. And that's the kind of player that he is. He's really, I think if you're trying to win a championship, I think I've seen enough. I think Julius Randle can't be your second best player if you're trying to win a championship. It's third best player at best, third, fourth best player. Um, you obviously can win at a good level, but winning a championship is a whole nother level. If if you're trying to win a championship with Randall as your second best player, then you better have Michael Jordan, as your best player. You better have, um, LeBron James in his prime as your best player. I think, yeah, if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, you're searching for more help on that. But with that said, now let's look around the league tonight as the Knicks will move up the standings, um, into sole third seed with this win right now. I'm going to refresh. We had a lot of action tonight from other games, right? As the Magic are on 17 wins but 12 losses. So the Knicks outright third, 17 and 10. Salute. Best stretch of the season, 7 games over 500. And obviously you look at the last 10, 7 and 3 is key. 8 and 4 at home. The New York Knicks, 9 and 6 away as well. I think that's big, right? You want to be a championship team, guys. You need to pull out wins on the road. So I think with that said, it's impressive that the Knicks are 9 and 6 on the road, 7 and 3 out of the last 10, taking care of home business, and we are 13 and 7 within our conference. Obviously, a weaker conference, fam. But look, lo and behold, we are now only 4 games back of the Boston Celtics, who lost tonight. Let's look at that. The Chicago Bulls putting Boston in their place. Big win for them, 117-108. So the Chicago Bulls did us a big favor, man. There's only a 4-game difference now between the Knicks and the Celtics. So if the New York Knicks can put their foot on the gas, we can, maybe close the gap with that. We had the Magic lose another game tonight as well, so the Thunder did us a favor there as well. So the Knicks have 2 games in the loss column and 3 wins. Actually, we're the same wins, but yet we have 2 losses on the Magic. The Pistons also lost tonight as well, so a bad night for the East. The Hawks took a big L as well to the Spurs. Victor Wembanyama with a 40-piece. So that was great for the New York Knicks as well. But the Pacemakers picked up a win too. So once again, good losses from the Hawks, the Celtics, and the Magic. That helps us out a lot. So it was a great night overall, man. Salute everyone. Man, what would have been if the Knicks didn't lose a couple of those games to the Pistons, one of the Hawks games, the Chicago Bulls as well, and the Houston Rockets game we could have won as well. The Knicks could easily be 21 and 6. The Knicks could be 21 and 6 very easily, the same record as the Boston Celtics, man. So we're not quite there yet, but we are really headed in the right direction, I feel, in terms of matching it with the best in the East. Johnny says, CT, you're correct. Having Achiuwa out there start is smart against longer teams that overwhelm the Knicks on the glass. Yep, absolutely. I think matchups make fights, and styles make matchups. Troy says, honestly, if someone gets replaced in the starting lineup, it has to be Bridges. I can't give up Hart's rebounds, playmaking, defense, and Hart. You make a good point, but I just can't see them doing that. I do think at times, definitely Mikal Bridges' play has been subpar and has deserved to come off the bench. But I think with these last 2 games, and I think the ceiling of the team and the floor spacing, I think Bridges has to stay out there. He just has to simply, start playing better. And tonight, and against Orlando, we've seen it defensively now. We've seen the blueprint. And yeah, let's not underrate the fact that we've had a nice little break here, fam. There's nothing like a little break that's going to rest the legs, and get these guys going, at times we did look like heavy legs. Some of our shots weren't falling against some of these teams that we should have beat. Um, and that's what everyone's talking about with Tibbs and saying don't play these guys major, crazy minutes, because it could really be the difference between coming out with impetus, in the next game as well. Fortunately, we haven't had too many back-to-backs. Connor T says DiVincenzo looks uninterested. I think there's major chemistry concerns with Minnesota right now, fam. I think the ball movement is something that really needs to be worked on, and I think the Knicks are thriving in that area. I think especially with assists that we see, the New York Knicks basically handling their business with 39 assists tonight to Minnesota's 29. I mean, Minnesota need to move the ball quicker. I know they've got a lot of good isolation players, but yeah, they need to get DiVincenzo going. Otherwise, that trade is going to look even worse, man. They heard boos tonight at 3 different stretches of the game. There was definitive boos in the building as well, man, for Cat's return. I mean, horrible night, basically a nightmare night for Minnesota and a dream night for us, fam, for the trade, right? And I was thinking this before, guys. With Minnesota, with Philadelphia struggling so much, they had trust the process. The New York Knicks have trust the front office, in my opinion. There were a lot of moves been made and a lot of doubts been had. But all along, I said, trust the front office. These guys are smart men. They're data driven as well. They look at the data. They look at, chemistry, chemistry fits and concerns that we had before with some of the players that we used to have on the team that are thriving at different locations, but still the ball movement is not as great. But right now the chemistry is at an all-time high. I think with vibes, with ball movement, I think defensively, obviously we've been playing below our capabilities, but I think everyone is man enough, I think, to take responsibility for that. I don't think there's going to be finger pointing with this locker room. I don't think there's going to be any beefs or any emergency team meetings. I think there's just a whole lot of grown men in this locker room. They take ownership. I mean, one thing I really admire about the leaders of this club, whenever they're in the locker room and after a bad loss, you always hear Brunson say the right things. You always hear Josh Hart speak the right things. They take ownership. They say they've got to be better, and they even point the finger at themselves before another teammate. But if you go to Minnesota or you look at Charlotte, the Houston Rockets, whatever it may be, it's a different story, man. There can be a whole lot of finger pointing. But with this club, I think Cat looks happy now. I think Cat, I think after this game, he'll get good closure. Got the tribute, got the homecoming out of the way now, and he's playing the best basketball of his career. And he's at home now. I think he can't be happier right now, man. He got the game ball, and he got to sit on the bench while his teammates basically closed the game out. Susan says, when you get traded, you should still perform your best for the new team. It's your job to play your best. Even though the jersey changes, it's still the game of basketball. Yeah, it's still a career. It's still your profession. You should definitely take pride in that, in your role, definitely. I just think sometimes chemistry plays a bigger part than people even realize. I think that's why front offices and GMs, go through the rigorous process of interviewing draft candidates and, trying to learn players' personalities, tendencies, and all of that. Because the game of basketball can be really pretty when the chemistry is, and all has energy, like Jamal Crawford was saying on the call tonight. When literally a teammate passes you the ball, they're trusting you. It's not just the action of passing someone the basketball. You're saying to them, I trust you. Here it is. You do your thing. And that's going to help you buy in defensively. It's going to help you lock in. It's going to help you reciprocate that and pass the ball back to the other teammate and all of those things. And, the Knicks have seen some selfish plays over the years. Minnesota right now, you got some chemistry things to figure out. But with the New York Knicks, man, even Mikal Bridges, who hasn't, really been on a, huge stretch yet this season, even he's sharing the basketball. Um, yeah, Jazzman, the cat looks really happy on the bench tonight, and a nice tribute video. Shez V, what's up? Salute. So yeah, we killed them on the glass. The 3-point shooting continues to be elite. We moved the ball tonight with a season high 39, 40 assists, whichever one it was, and 133 points, man. I don't think there's going to be many teams in the league that can even get close to beating us if we're putting up 133. If I'm guessing, or if I'm deciding, there's probably 2 teams, I'm going to say now, and I think that really starts to narrow things down as to where we're headed, fam. Now, when we talk about who can beat the Knicks, right? If we're scoring 133 points, the only 2 teams that I think in the league that could get close to beating us is Boston and Oklahoma, fam. Not even Cleveland, right, fam? If we're scoring 133, that means that we're literally punishing the other team, defensively. And, they're going to have to score even close to that to compete, right? And Cleveland, I think the gap is going to close a little bit. Obviously, they've got 4 losses. We've got 10 losses, but they could have a bad stretch, an injury. They lose 3 in a row, and we're within striking distance of Cleveland. Really, 6 losses. I mean, we're only in the third of the season right now, so let's see, fam. But we could easily be on 21 wins with 4 of those bad losses. Take your pick. I think the worst one was probably Chicago. I don't know how we lost that game. One of the worst was definitely Detroit. The Rockets as well. Both of the Atlanta games we could have won as well. How could I forget the Utah Jazz game? The Utah one was crazy. But we're looking ahead now, and we're gaining ground on. We're pushing ahead of some of these inferior teams. The Heat as well, they've got ways to go. I think they might blow things up a bit with Jimmy Butler at the trade deadline. I think the Bucks are starting to make a little bit of a move, but obviously we did play them really well last game. The Pacers right now, man, what a joke they are. Below 500. Tyrese, not even, he can't even touch Jalen Brunson right now, or Cat right now. I don't even want to hear from Indiana right now. They can't even back up what they did last season. Look, respect to Orlando, because, to be without Paolo, without Franz, and still be 5 games over 500, that tells you that they are going to be amongst it once they get those guys back. I think they will probably, get a top 4 seed. Will Orlando. But let's see. Let's see, guys. It's been a great night. We salute Cat's homecoming, and he definitely let the world know that he is an MVP candidate as well, and his teammates had his back tonight, man. And it rained threes, and it was lockdown defense in the Twin Towers, fam. In the Twin Cities, Minnesota. And basically, the New York Knicks said, we won the trade, we're playing at a higher level, and it was no competition from that second quarter onwards, fam. Now, we've got Pelicans coming up next. Then we've got the Raptors at home with the Spurs on Christmas Day. Big time game as well. And then Orlando, Washington to finish the new year. Orange and blue skies tonight, fam. Blessings to everyone. Smash that like button. We'll be back, of course, post-game live after the Pelicans game on Saturday night. Johnny says, what's more important to the Knicks? Wins, Cat, Bridges, or Brunson performing at their peak? Great show. Appreciate it, fam. Thanks for the buzz. Appreciate you, man. You guys are keeping things buzzing. I'm going to say the most important, fam, is definitely Jalen Brunson. The buck stops with Jalen Brunson, in my opinion. He has the ball in his hands. He's the engine. I think he can get it going to Cat at any time. So I do think the most important for Knicks wins, I think, is still Jalen Brunson. But I do think that Cat is obviously our best offensive player. But if Brunson moves the ball, gets 8 to 10 assists a night, and 3-point shooting continues to be strong, I think we're going to be so tough to beat, man. Why do you think the other opposing coach always puts wings on Brunson, or they try to slow down Brunson? Because they know he's the engine. But yeah, obviously all the Knicks are important. But if I have to pick one, I think it's still Brunson for that. But let's get it. Salute everyone. Peace.